Hey YouTube, Sean, Less Lethal for Dummies. Video for America's birthday for American viewers. Happy 4th of July. So I thought I'd drag out around my retirement is the push to pierce 12 gram CO2. So this is a concoction of mine from a long time ago. That uses a Humerex tube inserted into an FSC magazine. I have HP 68s loaded up. I will insert the CO2 and then I'm gonna come clean with something here. So there are two reasons I'm trying CO2 right now. Well, more than two. Number one, I did how to polish your ASA or how to get, this type of polish on your aluminum markers. And during the machine polishing process, as I was holding on to the ASA, the wheel grabbed it out of my hand and shot it like a rocket against the wall, and I broke an ear. One of those little ears, well, it didn't quite break, but it fractured sort of one of those where the block makes the 4 points of contact here, to a point that it's not usable. So, fair warning. If you're machine polishing, be careful. Previously, I'd only hand polished my markers, and in this case, I did machine polish the receiver, but it's a whole lot bigger to hang on to. Second reason that kind of goes along with that ASA is my carbine build when the bottle's on the back. There was one user there, very observant, that said, it doesn't look like you can use your sights. And he noticed that I did not have my sights installed in my FSC. And that was 100% correct. With the bottle coming straight out the back, my head's too big. That's the real reason. But I can't get down low enough to use the factory sight. And my Instinct Industries top rail, it always comes loose, even when I Loctited it. I think it's just taking a licking up there. So zeroing anything on that wasn't really an option for me. The Grimberg comp that I had that had sort of an upper pick rail, it was too sloppy for the barrel, and I had to put tape on my barrel, and I wasn't happy about that. I like when things fit very nice and tight together, and I don't have to add electrical tape. So that's kind of a bummer. So it gave me a chance to order the drop ASA that you may have seen floating around, and I haven't seen too many people using them. I mean, not in Less Lethal anyways, but even in paintball, kind of perusing the FSC forum there, I can find lots of people asking about it, but no one really giving any feedback on it. It may detract from the look slightly as it drops their tank down here, but it opens up the ability for me, I think, to use my factory sights. And the third reason at least that I'm going to remember right now, is if you remember, I did the Mercy Less Lethal chamber cap. And during the installation process, I used the Z-Ram stainless steel chamber. And I did note that it was not seating down properly onto the chamber. Well, that became an issue. I talked about it in some other videos where my bolt wasn't making a really audible click locking into the sear, so I dropped down to one bumper. And then I noticed it started to lose that audible click that I had regained by dropping down to one bumper. So after I broke my SA and I decided, okay, I'm going to switch this to CO2 so at least I can do something fun in the meantime for you guys. I noticed the O-ring that you squeeze between the chamber cap and the Z-Ram chamber, because it's not seated properly, it had started to push out and was actually pushing the whole assembly forward again, which was reducing the sear contact, and it was really only a matter of time before that O-ring just spit itself out and caused a leak. So I've reinstalled just a factory FSC air chamber in this with the Merciless lethal cap, and I should have snapped the photo and I did not, but the cap, like I said, seated down flush onto the air chamber, which I think gives a optimal seal. It also keeps your bolt in the optimal location. And when I double checked inside, you know, when you push your bolt in and you can see that the inlet hole for the air chamber, it was dead on the money. And now when I opened my marker and inspected with the Z chamber in, it was like halfway missing, it was halfway forward. So even if it had slipped even a little more, it could probably possibly popped a couple of these chamber O-rings. So I caught it in time, but I should have known better. If things didn't look right, they didn't look right. And I think that's about it. Oh, and maybe the fourth reason is because I said I should have tested this with CO2 for you guys. 6-inch eBay barrel, HP 68s. Regulator is bypassed. It's probably not optimal for this setup. On CO2, I generally like to be able to adjust it down. So here's a perfect opportunity where I would probably say, although I haven't tested it yet, but bypassing a regulator for CO2 isn't really a great idea, you know, especially if you're searching for consistency. You want to be able to dial it down. At least I do personally. But there remains to be seen what happens here. So, wicks and detents in here. This is actually a VKS bolt spring. And I apologize, John, your springs are tied up in something else right now. So I'm depending what happens here, I may sneak them into this one just for a quick boot around the block, if you will. I think that's it, guys. I think that is it. Oh, this is not a flat follower in this magazine, and it is loaded with HP, so I'm not sure how it's going to perform. If it does crappy, I will redo this with some Grimberg jewels. But enough with the talking. Oh, we'll get close here. Let me move this here. Now I can get closer. Hear that? She clicked. No leaks. Been a while since I used this mag. It's just been collecting dust on the shelf. I was really hoping somebody would take it to the next level, make it something that was more easily available. You know, this took a little bit of work to do this, you know, drilling the magazine and some little fittings and stuff. Not impossible by any means, but you want to see that video, you go back in my channel. It's, I don't know, maybe about a year ago, and you'll find pretty much a step-by-step how I did this. So let's see what it shoots like. These 70s. And I did something. Oh, I know what it is too. I know what it is. think. Okay, we're back again. And I actually don't think it was the HP68 that jammed. I was using a Home Defense 24 silicone washer in here, and I think it was just too much. Because when I opened the marker up, that bumper was all squished and jammed up. So I think that was the kind of double fire there. So I just quickly went back to my 2 standard M17 bumpers, which is what I normally use in my FSC. And this is the mag from the last mishap. I just want to see if it'll cycle. Oh, I guess there's no air left on it. Well. I also realized it's pretty late in the evening here up in the Great White North, so this is probably a happy belated 4th of July. I realize the day's over for most of you guys. Just finishing here now. So I'm gonna give it another shot with the HPs. All right. That's better. 360. What was the first one with the malfunction? 370? Hmm. 346. 338. 330. No way. Fuck's sakes, no way. Okay, you guys. That round that just came out of there, literally went right inside this barrel. Like, in this hole right here. I couldn't do that again if I tried. I think I got one more shot in here. .316. Curious. That was 6, right? 6. Definitely empty. So 6 shots above 300. Now those are 7.8 HP, so I'm just curious how many more shots I can get. That's just a single 12 gram, of course. That's pretty good, actually. Pretty good. So I'm gonna put 6 more in here. I don't think it's gonna get through all 6. Already, I think just discharging the mag pretty much killed it. And that's it. Well, I'd say it worked pretty good. And I'd also say the Merciless Lethal Cat worked pretty good with the CO2. Don't use Z-Ram chamber. At least, I don't know, apparently I have an early version of it, and this cap wasn't supposed to even fit properly, but it does fit in there. It threads in just fine, but clearly it wasn't making a good seal. And the factory air chamber is 360, pretty good for a 12 gram CO2, and a mostly pistol format. I mean, I should try it just with the Grimberg mag. Hang on. All right. It's good because now I get to dig into my fresh box of CO2. So this is just standard Grimberg 12 gram converted mag. This one does have the Wixon flat follower in it, so it cycled fine without it. It may have just been luck. It could be the detents, the printed detents I'm using, but either way, let's see. Oh, I lost one. Let's see what numbers I get on this one. Should be the same, right? You would think so. $356. Not far off. I mean, it's the same. We're calling that the same. A 360 to 356, those are the same, guys. I can't remember what the first one was. I think it was 336. I'm not even gonna call the rest. Let's just dump them. Oh, we had a misfire. That is a jam. This proves a point that changing one thing in your marker, you need to test, because up until this point, actually, shape projectiles have been cycling HPs, BKs. I've been cycling without issue with my HPA setup. Now, this is the first time going back to CO2 in a very long time. And of course, I have all these hiccups. Now, I'd probably try and work through them a little more, but I don't plan on keeping this CO2, although it is producing some pretty good numbers there. These are joules in here. So hopefully no mishaps. $336, and you can see they are heavier, but they don't catch quite as much air, especially with CO2. That little divot in the back allows that gas to just whoosh that guy right out of there. We'll chrono one more. 4 shots left. And that is it for gas. No malfunctions that time. Mag empty. So clearly, if I wanted to keep that CO2, I would definitely have to figure out what that feed issue is. Probably has something to do with the CO2 gas, of course, because it's the only variable I change. Otherwise, these mags, they're all the same mags. I mean, actually, the only one that worked flawlessly was the one without the Wixon follower, oddly enough. But like I said, it could just be luck of the draw. Can't put one mag down range and call it good. You definitely need to put several. I don't know. Sometimes I put hundreds of rounds down, just trying to sort out one minor glitch, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. You know, when you're pushing the markers to kind of the levels that, you know, you guys probably tune in to watch, those are the kind of things you have to do now. You know, when you keep these tuned down to a more reasonable level, less problems do occur. So, you know, take that into consideration. You don't need to be killing anybody with your LL, because that defeats the whole purpose. Catch you guys on the next one.